What's in it for me? I'll pay. Make it real nice, Jungkook humped. Fine. Only if it's up to my standards. Don't worry, it will be. Jungkook stared down at a small sheet of paper with Tae-hyung's number written on it in blue ink. He bit his lip to keep himself from smiling. Okay, what just happened? Namjoon popped his head in. Nothing. Just then, Jimin and Yoongi came bustling in. Yoongi carrying coffees, Jimin with pastries. Haven't seen you smile like that in ages. Spill. Yoongi handed everyone coffees, Jungkook having a hot tea instead. The four of them were their own little clique. Jungkook and Namjoon worked together, Yoongi worked at the coffee shop across the street, and Jimin worked at the pub next to Yoongi. A coincidence but very convenient. Like I said, it's nothing, he got laid, Jimin concluded nonchalantly while munching on a chocolate croissant. Yoongi gasped. Was he good? Stop jumping to conclusions and he brought all the flowers. Ook, Yoongi gushed. I'll tell you if you just stop. Yoongi grinned devilishly over the lid of his cup. I got a date. He fondled the slip of paper, a nervous habit. Yoongi and Jimin immediately bombarded him with questions before Namjoon calmed them down, reminding them that they were in a public building. This is great. You haven't gotten a date in years, thank you, Jimin. Jimin shrugged, completely unbothered. Tell us everything. Personality, where he works, his credit card info. He looked pretty hot when he came in, Namjoon mumbled. Oh, we've got a hottie, Jimin shouted. I'm not sure if it'll last after one date, Jungkook waved them off. How come? You were quite infatuated with him, Namjoon. Jungkook swatted at him. He's just so nice and charming. I'm not quite used to it. You've got to open up someday, Jungkook. Just because the last one wasn't great, doesn't mean this guy will be terrible. The wound is still fresh, and moving on will help you heal. How are you so smart and stupid at the same time? I'm a man of many talents, Yoongi grinned. Soon enough, date night rolled around. Jungkook wasn't sure what to wear. Tae-hyung just said someplace nice, but I'm not sure what that is by his standards. As mentioned before by his lovely friends, Jungkook hasn't been on a date in a while. His last boyfriend, Austin, sort of ruined everything for him. Jungkook's story short, guys who seem nice up front are not nice. He was beginning to worry that his nice clothes wouldn't fit him anymore. Yes, he had to dress nice for work, but this is more important than black slacks and a black button-up. This is a date. A date with a man that Jungkook kind of has warm fuzzy feelings for. But never mind that. The outfit. Jungkook knew he was overthinking this, but he was an expert at that apparently. He felt like he needed to step out of his comfort zone. And by stepping out of his comfort zone, he means wearing something other than black and grey tracksuits. He shuffled through his closet, internally and externally panicking at his limited options. Jesus, I need to go shopping. After a bit of digging, he found something. A simple navy button-up with white trousers. Whatever shoes he's wearing aren't important. It's nowhere near perfect, but it'll do. Besides, it's only one date. He's stressing himself out for nothing. He played with his fringe for an embarrassing amount of time. What could he say? He's picky as hell. His phone beeped from across the room. Jungkook scrambled to fetch it. Kim Tae-hyung. Kim Tae-hyung outside. He's here. Jungkook felt a rush of adrenaline as he finished up and headed outside. Stepping outside into the cold, Jungkook was glad he brought a jacket. Tae-hyung was leaning against the passenger side of his sleek, black Porsche. Tae-hyung's outfit was similar in that sense. His entire outfit was black from head to toe with a hat perched on top of his curls. His shirt was unbuttoned again, but this time with a black and white bandana draped around his neck, the ends falling at his sides. And to top it off, he wore a pair of Ray-Bans and a silver cross necklace. Jungkook's cheeks sizzled with warmth. Anyone in their right mind would say that Tae-hyung is attractive, but right now, he's a sexy beast. "You look stunning," Tae-hyung complimented, opening the passenger door for Jungkook. "Thanks." Jungkook couldn't help but stutter. He slid into his seat as Tae-hyung rounded the hood of the car to the driver's seat, getting in and starting the car. Jungkook was surprised Tae-hyung even had a car, as most New Yorkers didn't have one, Jungkook included. He wasn't entirely sure what this night might turn out like, but one thing is for sure, he was ecstatic. Tae-hyung handed him a blindfold. "Cover your eyes," Jungkook sputtered. "Why, it's supposed to be a surprise." Jungkook looked down at the silk wrap in his hands with a smirk. "Mr. Kim." Tae-hyung wiggled his eyebrows, making Jungkook snort. He tied the blindfold over his eyes, making sure his hair wasn't stuck under it. The car came to a sudden stop, Tae-hyung pulling the key out of the ignition. "Stay here, I'll help you. This better not be a hostage situation. If so, you are doing a terrible job." He could hear Tae-hyung's melodious laugh and a car door slam afterward. Jungkook gripped his thighs in anticipation, feeling the unfamiliar material of his neck. The cold air rushed in, making Jungkook shiver. Tae-hyung, being a gentleman, quickly enveloped him with his coat as he helped him get out of the car. "I've got you, don't worry." Tae-hyung's whisper was so quiet that Jungkook almost didn't hear it. Jungkook took careful steps with Tae-hyung's guidance. Jungkook relished in the feeling of Tae-hyung's veiny hands on his. He hasn't been touched like that in so long. Jungkook doesn't know why he's so affected by it. "This feels so unserious," Jungkook commented while Tae-hyung began to work on untying his blindfold. "Never heard that before." Jungkook took some time to adjust to the bright city lights of New York. His eyes focused on the building in front of them. Magnificent arches towered over them, circular lights, similar to the effect of a solar eclipse, added an ambient aesthetic to the area. He recognized the Michelin star restaurant immediately. "Al Coro," he ordered. "Have you been?" Jungkook shook his head. "Glad I could be with you for your first time." Jungkook caught Tae-hyung's sexual undertones. "For the record, Jungkook is not a virgin." Jungkook tried not to think about their overly flirty server while he sipped at his wine. "Where do you work, Tae-hyung?" Tae-hyung paused, catching Jungkook's eye with pursed lips. Jungkook could see the gears turning in his brain, which only made him more nervous. Jungkook had never bothered to ask. Their conversations usually weren't directed in that conversation. He was puzzled about how Tae-hyung could afford all this stuff. Fancy dinners, designer clothes, nice cars. Where did the cash come from? Tae-hyung sighed, swiveling his wine glass between his fingers. "Have you heard of Kim Enterprises? By any chance Kim Company?" he pondered. "Yeah, that company that makes all the smart watches and gadgety homes." "Oh, it's Kim Company, of course. You own that company?" Jungkook exclaimed. Tae-hyung shook his head. "Nope," he popped the Kim. "But my parents do. My dad created it back when I was a baby." Jungkook's jaw dropped. "You're kidding." Tae-hyung shook his head once more. "You know what?" Tae-hyung clumsily sat his wine glass down, still full of red. Jungkook watched it wobble. "I shouldn't have." Even the glass toppled over, spilling wine across their rather small table and right onto Jungkook's clothes. It seeped into his blouse, dripping down onto his lap. Blood rushed to his cheeks. Tae-hyung jumped from his seat. "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." He rushed to collect napkins or anything that could really clean up a spill. Tae-hyung focused more on getting the stain out of his white trousers and now purple top, rather than on the table. "No, fine. These clothes are old anyways." Customers had begun to stare and gossip. Their whispers drowned out Tae-hyung's endless apologies. He felt so many eyes on him, piercing through his clothes. He felt like he was having a dream where he showed up to school naked by accident. Yeah, know that classic nightmare. "Look, it's Kim Tae-hyung, oh my. I would love to get a piece of him." The woman fanned herself with her menu. Gazing out the window, Jungkook noticed the flickering lights from the city. There were camera flashes. Mr. Kim, foaming at the mouth, just waiting to get a glimpse of the rich CEO's hot son. His stomach churned and they hadn't even eaten yet. Jungkook placed a hand on Tae-hyung's shaking ones. "I'm gonna go, Tae-hyung. Thank you for the lovely evening." He rose from his seat, not waiting a beat before he began to exit the establishment. He was not gonna get caught up in Tae-hyung's fancy life madness. "Jungkook, wait!" Tae-hyung's shouts were distant now as he strolled down the icy sidewalks. His soggy clothing began to freeze in the cold temperatures, dampening his already sour mood. Jungkook never enjoyed being the center of attention. Austin, his ex-boyfriend, pushed him to be that way. He wanted them to be sort of the it couple. Jungkook would rather be himself than make every public appearance a show. He preferred to be genuine. "Jungkook," Tae-hyung pleads, out of breath like he's been running. "Did you run after me?" Jungkook does a 180-degree, looking up at Tae-hyung in utter shock. He thought Tae-hyung's snobby side would shine through and he would text him something like, "You're ugly anyway." Yeah, no, the usual. Unimportant. "Just please, Jungkook. I'm completely and utterly infatuated with you. I know I should have told you and I freaked you out and spilled the wine." And he sighed, smoothing his hands over his face. "I just need one more chance, please." Tae-hyung was right, it did shock him. But he was more overwhelmed than shocked. "I see something here, Jungkook." He held on to Jungkook's frostbitten hands. "I feel a spark." Tae-hyung circled his thumb over Jungkook's knuckles. "Simple but effective." "I'm just overwhelmed by this whole thing," Jungkook confessed. "It doesn't have to be like this," Jungkook countered. "There's nothing I'm not willing to do for you. You're all I want." Jungkook's heart skipped a beat. Tae-hyung certainly had a way with words. A genuine way with words. He didn't cheese it up or make it corny. He poured his heart out for Jungkook. "Well, I'm definitely charmed, Tae-hyung. Does that mean we can try this again?" Jungkook cracked a smile. Yes, it does." Jungkook gripped the sheets tightly in his fists, gasping for breath. His lungs rose and collapsed quickly as he attempted to steady his breathing.